My name is Carol Richard. I'm the founder of the Sleep Success Academy, and
I'm Jan Hamning, and I'm a Eat and Energy Medicine practitioner, EFT practitioner, and Feng Shui consultant. And I'm in the Midwest of the U.S.
I'm in Canada. The beauty of the internet, right? You get to meet people all over the world. So the reason we're here today with this video is because I often have the question on like, why do we wake up at 3 a.m.? And recently was really asked with I hear it has to do with the liver and the processing of stuff when we wake up at 3 a.m. What is true about that? And me coming it from a sleep side and not really knowing traditional Chinese medicine or feng shui or anything that Jan knows, I thought that we could have a conversation to kind of give people information on, is that true? What happens in the middle of the night with the liver and the gallbladder and all that good stuff? So I'll let you talk about that, Jan.
Yeah, this subject comes up a lot with my clients. More I'm finding with women than men. And when I talk about the liver energy, that I don't know why it's more women than men. I have my suspicion, but we'll talk about that. The liver, every organ has its 2-hour time period where it runs at its highest peak. It's at its high tide. And that's when it's really working and working, is getting the most chi fed to it. It's like processing, it's doing its job for that 2-hour period. And the liver is at its high tide, at its peak from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. The liver has over 300 jobs. It is that 2 hours, that liver is working so hard to detox our systems, to prepare it to start over again when we awake, to prepare it to start consuming bad foods, a lot of sugars, alcohol, toxic things, the environmental, the air that we breathe. It's a lot of it is not self-induced toxins. A lot of it is just natural toxins. It's our thoughts, our toxic thoughts, our toxic beliefs. And so that liver is working really hard to prepare it to go into that 3 to 5 a.m., which is lung time, for the lungs to start working their energy to prepare us to wake up for the day and to get us to breathe. And so it's a whole cycle, a 24-hour cycle, the circadian rhythm. And the liver, Carol, when she asked me to meet with her, she said, people are saying that it's connected to anger.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Liver and gallbladder are the yin and yang partners of the wood element. And the gallbladder's peak is from 11 p.m. till 1 a.m. That's when it's working its hardest. That's when it's doing its job to do what gallbladder does. And then it moves into the liver time. Liver and gallbladder, their emotions are anger.
Yeah.
And yes, and this is the interesting part of why I always hear more women complain about waking up between 1 and 3 a.m. because liver is anger at ourselves.
Yes. And man, do we ever.
And men do like, they don't hold on to that self-angst too much.
No.
They kind of, well, that's a whole other topic for another video.
Yeah.
But I think women, throughout history, we get angry at ourselves for the way we look, the way we act, the way that we're not good enough. We're not a good enough partner. We're not a good enough mom. We're not a good enough this or a good enough that. And so we hold on to that self-angst.
And so I'll tell you what just kind of went through my mind as you're explaining that, because I believe that emotions and everything that happens to us, they show up for a reason, right? Like
to help us heal.
They're there to help us heal. And when I think about sleep and I think about setting a proper bedtime ritual so that you can get to sleep, because when we're sleeping, that's where our physical body restores itself and our mental body restores itself. And so waking up at 3 a.m. happens to a lot of people, but because we're going through sleep cycles and like the way I kind of picture it, because I'm a very visual person, is like I've slept my hour and a half and I wake up a little bit because I'm starting a new sleep cycle. But if I have anger at myself or frustration at myself, any kind of emotions, and if it's anger, then it makes sense then if the high tide for liver is between 1 and 3, that if our sleep cycle happens to start again in that time, that we would then wake up because the anger has been processing through the liver because it's cleaning itself. This is like all connecting to me right
Yeah.
now. I get excited with this
Really
kind of stuff.
interesting when you get all the little puzzle pieces.
Right. And so yeah, I can see how. And what did you say? Gallbladders from 11 to 1?
Gallbladder is from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. And gallbladder is anger, rage, frustration, but it's at others.
Okay.
It's the yang organ. So it's outside. Yin is within. Yin is but gallbladder is anger, frustration, rage, blame at others. And liver is within.
And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I wake up between 11 and 1, I'm thinking, how am I angry or mad or rage at others?
It could be. Yeah.
And when so this would be okay. So the next step of this video that I'd like to share, because now we're understanding that, what do we do about it?
Yeah,
right?
And that's a big thing. And
Right.
besides doing EFT tapping on that anger, frustration, rage, whether it's at yourself or others, that's one way to start to release it. Another way, and I tell my clients, I ask them to do this as a little bit of homework. You can tap at the endpoints of your liver meridian to get the energy moving. I always recommend to do it throughout the day. If you're having sleep issues, it's really important to keep the energy moving through that meridian that feeds chi to the organ consistently. So I always recommend, Donna Eden always says, tap between 1 and 1,000 times a day. You can't tap much. She's so funny with that. So I always recommend to my clients to tap the endpoints of the liver meridian throughout the day. And it's not a big deal. It's not hard.
It's not. And you can do it like it's free, and you can do it while watching TV. You can do it while you're waiting for your coffee to drip. You can do it while you're reading a book, like
in the shower. I do mine in the shower.
Right.
I stand in the shower under the water and I do all my thumping of my main things, my 4 thumps. But and that's easy. And I'll kind of lower my camera a little bit so you can see. It's right in line with the nipples at the top of the rib cage. And you're just going to lightly tap. Yeah. You're just going to lightly tap. And you can tap all along here because you're getting everything. Yeah. And also you can take your hands, the flats of your hands, and just rub across fairly deep, whatever's comfortable to a point that's you don't want to be uncomfortable. But if you go like this and rub those hands across, that's getting your liver and your spleen neurolymphatic point.
I really
so that moves that lymph system also. That helps the lymphatic system. And that's the end point of the liver meridian. The beginning point is on the big toe, the bed of the toenail on the big toe on the inside next to your second toe. Okay. So if you go down and you tap, like if this were this is kind of hard to do backwards. If this were my foot, it would be this part of your toe, big toenail is liver 1. And you can just tap on that. When, if you're sitting watching TV, if you can reach your foot, tap on that. And then tap at the top of your rib cage. And that's the beginning and end points of the liver meridian. And that again will encourage the energy in the meridian that feeds the liver to say, whoa, we got to get moving here. We can't get stuck. We can't go backwards. We got to get moving. So that I recommend to do that, and to do that even maybe before you go to bed. to tap it to so that energy doesn't start working so hard. And then it gets blocked. It gets stuck between 1 and 3. It's just like, like your car, like when the engine is just really struggling to get started.
Yeah.
That's how I visualize the energy in the meridian. Because boy, I have spent many years off and on waking up at 2:45.
Yeah.
2:55, right before that 3 o'clock point. And now that I know that that's liver time, because I always relate whatever's happening throughout the 24-hour clock, like what's going on? Why am I feeling bad? Why am I getting so tired right now? So I start connecting it to whatever organ is at its high tide at that point, or at its low tide, the opposite 12-hour. Liver's at its low tide between 1 and 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Oh.
And because that's small intestine time, that's small intestine high tide. After we consume lunch, most of us, and small intestine's like, okay, let's do our job. She just ate,
Yeah, that all makes so much sense when you actually take a step back. And so my recommendation for people, if they find themselves waking up at 1, at 3, now that we know this information, that between 11 and 1 is like anger, frustration at others, and between 1 and 3 is at ourselves, then start journaling or tapping or being aware of the thoughts that are going through your mind when you're waking up.
Yes. And the thoughts that are there, and it may not always be the emotional connection. It may be just of what you've consumed throughout the day, that the gallbladder, it's creating things to help us detox. And maybe it's just not functioning at its best.
I just had an aha moment. Oh my God. So the other day I had a few glasses of wine, which I'm not a big drinker, but we had company over and I was awake between 1 and 3 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, sure.
Because yes, the liver is trying to process the wine between 1 and 3.
Yes.
On top of me feeling angry at myself, maybe a little bit of frustration because I couldn't sleep and I kept doing like going to the couch and tapping and going back. And now I have another awareness that if I'm not sleeping between 1 and 3, what did I consume that is making my liver work overtime?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's simple little things that we can do. Some of my clients, I recommend just show your liver a little love.
Yeah.
Show your liver some love. Just cup your hands and place it over your liver on that right side, below, right around the rib cage, and just hold it and just comfort it and just say, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for the work you do to keep me strong and keep me healthy, and you detox my body, and I crazy things like that, and my clients will do it because they want to heal, they want to sleep. I have several clients going through chemotherapy, and I let them know, comfort your liver, cuddle it like a baby, like you're rocking a baby, and just rock that liver and give it compassion and love and gratitude on all the work it's doing for you.
Right. And let it know. Let it know that it's actually doing its job. If it's waking you up at 3 in the morning, it's doing its job. And Gabor Mate, in his new book, The Myth of Normal, talks about healthy anger.
Yes.
Like anger shows up because it's letting us know something is out of balance in our life.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, love your liver. The fact that it's waking you up with some anger, maybe or maybe not, but it's waking you. And just kind of look at your life and say, what do I need to change? What is holding me back? Why do I have this anger? And then kind of renegotiate your life.
Yeah. And Carol, you and I both know that through the EFT practice and working with people with EFT, that many times, most times, if you can get the client to be angry, that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
That's a positive shift to actually be angry.
Yeah.
So, it's not always negative to be angry. And, awareness is 80% of the solution.
Right.
So if you begin to wake up and you get in that pattern where you know, you're not sleeping between 1 and 3 or 2 and 3 or whatever, you know, like me, it was 2:45 to 2:55. I'd be awake, wide awake, and then I'd be laying there like staring at the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I would not necessarily at that moment while I was being frustrated to be awake, but throughout the day, I would start thinking, what can I change? What can I change with my daily habits and my pattern to see if it'll help me get through that 2 hour span to continue sleeping?
Exactly. It's really processing the day and making conscious choices and bringing awareness. Awareness is like step number one that we don't do enough. We just go through life without awareness, right?
And again, it may not be related to anger, you know, but it could be something else. It could be just something that's causing the liver energy. And it could be that you're consuming too many fluids before you go to bed, and that's the time you get up to go to the bathroom.
Right, it could be. And that's why, so as we close this video, my spiel to everyone is, as much as we can provide you with information, we can't tell you why you're not sleeping or why you're feeling something, because there's no one size fits all to these tools that we share openly here on our channels. But I do know that if you have someone guide you through a process, you will get ahas that will then make your sleep better. That's been my experience with people. They don't even realize what's in the way, but that's what we do, Jan and I. We have seen enough people and we have studied enough to know, oh, try this and see what happens. And you know, it usually works because
and
we have
you know what a lot of people don't realize, you know, I'm sure you get these comments too. It's like, but you don't know how I feel. We're like, yeah, we do, because
we do.
Most of us practitioners have experienced pretty much everything our clients have gone through as far as emotions go and the struggles. And one other thing before we sign off is flushing the liver meridian before you go to bed. That whole meridian is a great way to prepare for bed. And if you have any questions about how to flush the meridian, you can go to my website and schedule a free consultation, a 30-minute free Zoom consultation, and I can go over about flushing the liver meridian.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed because I've had energy work with Jan and I just love it. So this is it for today. So if you need to reach us, our websites will be in the descriptions below. You can just kind of reach out if you're wanting help with your sleep, and how to set routines and rituals and how to really look at the whole circadian rhythm, but the whole kind of life cycle of sleep and what you can do to change, because your sleep won't get better if you keep doing the same thing. And then you can reach out to Jan she does so many things.
Yeah, because there's so many other things that could be happening with the energy around you and within you that's preventing you from sleeping. You know, feng shui is a big part of how's the energy flowing in your bedroom.
Yeah, like, and I don't do feng shui. So if you want to set up your bedroom properly for sleep, contact Jan.
Yeah, I do remote consultations on that. So
yeah, cool. So this is it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave us a comment, subscribe to our channels. Let us know if you have any other questions. And we love hopping on Zoom here to have a chat and help you get the knowledge that you need to make your sleep better and your life.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, bye.